Alrighty, I wanted to look through a couple of these. Most recent things I just plucked from your ranked matches. Mostly, I observed just a lot of ranked unconfidence, I guess you could say. Just a number of myriad mistakes and then awkward interactions that are the result of having an awkward, not confident, not straightforward game plan. This is one thing. So this is normal. This was not the optimal conversion, but it's totally fine. And then that mistake, obviously, on both the missed meaty and also the missed recognition of the scenario. And then there's a lot of instances where you sort of like rigidly crouch block in a way that is, I would say, the safest thing that you can do in ranked. Like if you're fighting some random stranger, you don't know how they're going to play. The safest general thing that you can do is mash backdash. Whenever something goes wrong, just mash backdash. It's better than holding crouch block, and it will give you more of an advantage of your character's specialty, which is your often superior walk speed against the opponent characters. So in these instances, yeah, so mashing backdash is like the safest way to reset the scenario, control the neutral, and look to see if you have no idea what the opponent's going to come out with or something, give you a much better ability to see what they're going to do and react. For Akuma's demon flips, I would recommend just going air to air. Jump back air throw is pretty consistent. You have a consistently difficult time anti-airing against a lot of these opponents. And I will say that just pick an anti-air that you're comfortable with. You don't have to do DP if you're not prepared for it. Just do back medium punch, do air throw, be loose with your feet and walk underneath them and punish their landing frames more, etc. Just whatever thing that you feel that you can do that you're comfortable with if you're not getting the DP, which you very frequently are not. And Cammy's DP is not even that good anyways, so it's like barely a loss to fail to DP anti-air. You're often, the other anti-airs are maybe less consistent against all types of aerial approaches, but her back medium punch is more rewarding because she gets Oki from it and she doesn't from her DP, so don't even worry about it. Just do something that you feel that you can do. Okay, so alright, so far in this round, right, this is normal, this is fine. Against stronger opponents, stuff like this would not work as well, but that, clear mistake, a lot of unprompted errors, just to clean up. So, sitting there and not mashing backdash is like the first way that you could, is like the first opportunity that you missed that is like, would broadly help you against most unknown opponents to safely control the match better. I will say there's no reason to do low forward here, off of Akuma's +4 here. There's no reason to do anything other than just crouch block or walk backwards probably here, just out of safety. For Akuma's demon flip, he has no throw option or anything, so it's like pretty reliable to just parry it so that you don't lose drive gauge, any of the options that he's going to probably go for. I've never seen an Akuma do a raw demon flip and then go all the way into empty and then walk forwards and forward throw. And as for the anti-air options, back medium punch should serve you pretty well against a lot of them, because Cammy's back medium punch hits fairly high into the air, which is the basic necessity that you need to clip this action. But jump back air to air is pretty good against it, because Akuma's demon flip does not have attacks that are like suited to go air to air. So jump back air throw, jump back jab, etc. will float him out of it. So that's good. So in this instance, so backdash here would have been good. This is fine. Try to anti-air. Blocking it is not that fine. The low forward is the clearest mistake here. But then after this, attempting at a perfect parry anti-air would have been fine. Perfect parry anti-air is completely reasonable here, but if you don't want to try to fish for that yet, etc., it's good. You need to throw in at least a couple perfect parry anti-airs here and there. Even if you can anti-air regularly, just throw in some perfect parry fishing for attempts, just so that it forces your opponent's air approach game to be more diversified and forces them to empty jump sometimes, which you can deal with more reliably. But your biggest mistake here was holding up. In fact, I looked at your inputs and I was confused why you got hit here, because it doesn't seem like you're holding up. It seems like you didn't hold a direction at all. I'm not entirely sure why you got hit here, but yeah, just when you land this, just off of this situation, just block this out. Just take the throw, whatever. Not just take the block or the throw. Get some basic information. It's not too bad. So that's fine. I do notice that against several of these opponents, you like sit there and crouch block for like much longer than is necessary, or like you sit there and when you're uncomfortable, it seems like you're very rigid in your movement and you're not walking around effectively. You often go to the air for your approach. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes not as much. But, yeah, I mean, you can... The thing about Cammy's standing heavy kick, which is something that you have used a lot when we play, etc., is that Cammy's standing heavy kick is unfortunately less effective against random players on ranked, who are more likely to jump and more likely to do random DI and stuff, because as Cammy's heaviest button, it whiffs for the longest if the opponent does random DI or random jump. So I would say alter your play into a style that is less reliant on standing heavy kick against unknown opponents and takes greater advantage of Cammy's walk speed. So I would say do walk up, stand jab. See, the opponents are going to have like, there's 3 things that they could be doing, right? Or 4 things. They could be doing nothing in neutral. They could be constantly walking backwards and trying to stick at a button whenever you move too far forwards into an attack. They could be trying to deliberately counterpoke or stuff your approach with something into like drive rush. Players at this level are probably not going to be doing that very precisely, or they're trying to do something towards their own approach, like planning to jump or DI or drive rush or something. Most opponents at this rank are not very comfortable with and know how to approach on the ground to get into the range of their normals. A lot of the times without using things like drive rush or dash. So I would say an overall note about your Cammy's play is that you frequently play as if you're not playing a rushdown character, and you are. Okay, you need to be the aggressor. You, with the walk speed, with the buttons, with the air approach options, etc., you can walk... I'll demonstrate this in training mode in a second, but you can walk really close to the opponent, a lot closer than you currently look like you feel comfortable walking, without really still taking a risk. You attack in the neutral primarily just with walking and sometimes dashing. Some characters, their dashes are significantly better than their walking, like Luke. His forward dash moves him forward a lot faster than his forward walking. Some characters, it's kind of even. Cammy and Akuma, both their forward dash is about as fast as their forward walk anyways. This minor optimization, when you block DPs, you can neutral jump punish them, which will do more damage than the crouch fierce. You can do neutral jump heavy kick. Now, in this instance... The fuck? My controller stopped registering. Oh, there we go. I will say in this instance, there's no, like, maybe, I don't know what your rationale was here for doing the hooligan mix. Like, maybe you just wanted to check and see if you could get him with hooligan throw or overhead or fast fall or something. My only note is, if that was the goal, in this situation, there's no reason to do EX. Just do regular Hooligan. It's better in this situation to do regular. EX is specifically only for massive distances. Or maybe a niche scenario where you cancel the low into level 2 or something. But in the corner. But EX is specifically for covering huge distances. So I would like basically only use it after punish counter standing heavy kick. It doesn't really increase your damage output for the overhead. It does for the throw, but like it's still not worth the 2 bars that you spend to do so. So anyways, yeah, you look like you're like a bit uncomfortable in the neutral. You never anti-air, and that's fine. You don't have to, but it's just like... So that's fine. You can take that, block it out. I remember watching these matches. I don't think this opponent ever throws a single time. That's one of those things that when you fight up until like about probably master rank and maybe even a little bit into master rank, most of the players that you fight are going to be good at some things, but overall incomplete. And they're going to be incomplete. Like, there are certain... The trick in fighting these types of players, in these lower rank players, is that you have to identify where their gameplay is incomplete. In this guy's instance, his offense is incomplete in that he never throws. So, once you recognize that... And it's easier to recognize for these players because if someone's in Platinum 2 and they're not like a Smurf or something that's just running through with like a 10-win streak, you can pretty quickly identify that there must be something wrong with their gameplay, something that's missing from their gameplay. And it's not the things that you would think. It's not like, oh, they jump too much, they DI too much. It's going to be some incomplete aspect, usually of their offense and defense. Some players just take way too many risks, and it's quite obvious why they're at Plat 2 or whatever. But yeah, someone like this, there's 2 pieces of information that you want to be picking up immediately. What does he do in offensive situations? What does he do in defensive situations? And there are certain habits that are going to be overwhelmingly present, and certain tools that they should be using that they never do because they've yet to incorporate it into their game plan enough. In this guy's case, he only does like strike, and maybe sometimes he might try to like bait an EXDP or something. I don't even think he does that much, but and so this guy's offense is like just looping like strikes and then just trying to do air approach again with a demon flip, but he never throws. And once you recognize that, you can adjust your defense in a way that completely dismantles and makes yourself borderline invincible against him. That will be true for most players of until you get to, again, like high diamond rank. Most players, I will say, of these ranks are one of 2 types. They're either players that will throw and shimmy, either with an actual shimmy or with a neutral jump, or there are players that only do strike and throw. Oftentimes, you will not find players that do all 3 things, strike, throw, and shimmy. So there's usually one that they're missing. And if you can identify which one, you can just abuse that defensive tool over and over. So yeah, I would say, yeah, your neutral looks very hesitant, very like you're not sure what he's doing, so you're not sure what you should be doing. But I will say you can play very safely against these players and not commit very hard by just using your walk speed and stand light punch, especially. Stand light punch, maybe stand light kick to aggress the opponent, maybe crouch medium punch sometimes. and then sometimes do low forward. Don't play with stand heavy kick neutral immediately, especially against very mobile, jumpy opponents. But, yeah, walk, like, really close into his face, and then just either walk back or crouch block at that point, and kind of see what happens. Like, just, like, one, you don't want to be, like, specifically just occupying one space in neutral. You want to kind of use your walk speed to cover a huge breadth of space that you can either threaten offensive or defensive actions from. Akuma, like, let me explain for Akuma. Akuma, with his high walk speed, and his toolkit in neutral, has a huge range that he can walk in between and make it unclear where he's going. Because he can walk all the way up in your face, and until he risks actually walking into, like, a low forward drive rush or something, he's still safe. Even if he walks into, like, a stand heavy kick, if it's not punish counter or something, if he doesn't press a button, it's not that bad. So Akuma can walk all the way up in your face, especially if you and most players, a lot of players, their instinct when someone walks way too close to them is to walk backwards. That usually gives you precedence to walk even closer to them and then just block or walk backwards or something. So walk really, really close, way more than you're currently comfortable with, and then you can walk in and out of that range and just look for what's happening. Maybe hit a stand jab, something low commitment, etc. Stand light kick, etc. And then walk backwards. Akuma can walk all the way into, like, up in your face versus, like, all the way back, because he also can threaten fireball range. So his walk speed can cover, like, the whole stage, basically, and make it unclear where he's going. Cammy, you have to be at least within, like, probably light spiral arrow range, or a range where you can threaten some of your more complex air approaches from further back, like outside of jump heavy kick range. So, because of Cammy's air approach, you can cover a large space. But yeah, I would say most players, until they get, like, much, much stronger, they are often not comfortable walking forwards as much as they really should, and as much as will help them to relatively safely control the match. But anyways, yeah, so this is fine. Happy accident there. The match is mostly determined by this guy just doing shit. Yeah, that's... yeah. I don't love too much heavy kick against random ranked players. Yeah, there's a couple instances where you're just, like, not punishing, like common bad player errors. Like, bad Akuma players will constantly be whiffing that. No reason not to block that. Or parry it, but at least block it. There's no low option that he has there. And then I also think you don't punish this, like, random whiff DP here. You walk forward, which is fine, but just getting a regular punish would have been probably better. And you could have transferred into level 1 to side switch anyways. So yeah, punish this, and then he should be quite close to death after that. There we go. So yeah, those are my overall notes. You don't have to feel that uncomfortable in the neutral. Your offense... This is a game where, like, your offense is more determinant. If your opponent gets 3 offensive scenarios on you and you defend yourself even kind of decently and basically, and you get, like, 2 offensive scenarios on your opponent and they defend themselves like shit, then you're just going to win outright, and it will not be close. But yeah, your neutral in these circumstances is, like, you're clearly not getting anything that you are expecting to happen or something. Because, like, you clearly, like, obviously it's understandable. I mean, I don't know what this guy's doing, so you know, how could you know what this guy's about to do? He seems to be doing a bunch of weird shit. Getting accidents. That was a nice attempt at a parry there. Unfortunately, if you were familiar with his strings, he would probably not have reached with an attack there. Maybe he would do low forward there. So that's fine. You missed the low forward that you wanted off of this. You missed the counter hit. Convert. You missed the button input a little bit fast, but it's fine. The drive rush, burnout, especially burning out from 2.5 bars to 0 with or like 2.8 to 0 is like a big bad expenditure. Pretty big mistake. Miss meaty again on a like just a lot of unforced errors frequently, which are not, you know, the worst things ever, but there's signs of either malpractice or nervousness. I would naturally assume nervousness because I understand what ranked is like for players. Very lucky level 1. Honestly, this is like a hard gamble. That kind of thing frequently doesn't work out. I like the just random whiff hooligan stuff. I think it's a good tactic to attempt to waste time while also covering if he throws a fireball. When you're in burnout, at least, not regularly. Punish? Yeah, so those kinds of things are like big opportunities that these guys who make errors are going to just give you on a silver platter. And then when you can capitalize on them and then run your offense, stuff like EXDPs will not matter at all. But yeah, if you were more comfortable, if you weren't like crouch blocking as much, if you were more comfortable being light on your feet. So this is an instance where, it's whatever. Blocking there makes sense, but if you had walked under a little bit faster and punished his landing frames better. Oh, this is an instance where, like, your error... I'm not sure if you were trying to go for, like, low short walk-up throw or something. It doesn't look like you were. You got... It looks like crouch medium punch or something after this crouch short. But this is an instance where I can explain what happens. Like, okay, no block in the overhead. Again, unnecessary. But then, after this interaction, you catch him, like, mashing DP after this scenario. Like, he blocks the overhead and he's like, fuck, and he starts mashing DP. Often you will catch people who do not have solid defense. You will catch people with a jump in into a low. My fucking thing just stopped again. And so the fact that you did not complete that into a combo conversion and you did low short into something else is why you got tagged here. So I would say just complete those. Just complete, at least do 2 lights and then see what's going on. No conversion off the crouch fierce. That's fine. I don't love DI after Cammy's forward throw. Specifically this scenario, I don't like DI here. Not just because it didn't work, but Cammy's forward throw is specifically a scenario where people, if they know what they're doing, if they know the scenario, Cammy's forward throw is one of her knockdowns where they will be looking to use a jump out approach. Because it's one of those scenarios where she can get a throw loop, but her strike meaty is less damaging and more difficult since she can't get a walk up crouch fierce into anything. So that's one of those scenarios where people are already naturally going to be trying to jump out anyways, and that's why I don't like doing that period off of forward throw. Bad conversion, lots of unforced errors, and like uppercuts where you meant to do spiral arrows or something. I'm not sure what that was. Putting yourself this low on drive gauge is fine. It's not the worst thing ever. That was a nice attempt, but no combo completion. Again, jump back, light kick, jump back, air throw is good against Akuma's demon flip. His Cammy Yes, this is an important note. Anytime you did the correct thing here, anytime Akuma's Demon Flip goes over your, like, above your head and is going past your head, just mash an attack button, because there's nothing he can do to stop it. He should have combo completed that. That's fine. I do not like this jump here, because this guy, one, has never thrown, and two, has represented strike meaties many, many times, and three, this is a scenario where the strike meaty would be powerful anyways, and against most opponents, you would not want to just raw jump here. So I don't like that, even though it worked out. Yeah, your jump out approach has to be based on which knockdown you're currently looking at from the opponent. And you don't want to do ones where they have, like, clean, easy meaties into huge damage. Yeah, this one, I think you're... This is a match where I really thought, like, you're not playing like a rushdown character should. You're kind of giving him a bit too much grace. Honda, as a character, does not have the best ways to stop, like, regular grounded approach. He doesn't have that walk speed or those normals that can, like, really stuff you. He just has headbutt, but if you just use walking rather than attacks, you can navigate around headbutt pretty well if you just look for it. So yeah, you can walk like a lot close. You don't have to... I think the reason you're giving him so much space is because you're trying to react to headbutt, but that's not really how you want to play the matchup. You're not... Cammy is not a character that will zone Honda out, you know? So in this matchup, if you're not having like some sort of range superiority, Honda probably has the range superiority in these circumstances because his drive rush goes way farther than Cammy's does. So, yes, I would say in this matchup, you want to be the aggressor, be the approacher, strike with normals, and then don't try to spend too much drive gauge. His lows, like, that's his most threatening low, and it won't convert him into anything, and it won't get him close enough to throw you or something, so that's fine. That's very punishable. That's fine. Could have been a counter DI. See, this is, like, all this was fine. And then you had it. Like, you genuinely, like, you applied the pressure and you had him. You had him dead to rights right here. But then no counter DI there. Now, doing a counter DI on your own offense is a lot easier, less taxing than just trying to counter DI a regular one, where you have to just react to it blind in 26 frames. So let's see, what happens here? Your tendency to be, like, a bit too stable and crouch blocking, where it's unnecessary to be crouch blocking, it allows him to sneak in these dashes. But yeah. Against a lot of opponents, like... So like I said, the safest thing that you can do in ranked is after some scenario like this, just backdash. Like here, mash backdash. It's fine. If anything else, just like walk backwards if the opponent doesn't have a threatening low. So yeah, if you just walk, like, I would say like a little bit closer, like this close to Honda. If you're like this close while he's here, you like walk up to like here, and you just keep walking there or walk a little bit backwards or something. You keep walking there. Sometimes you hit stand jab, whatever. You just kind of like walk around him. Even if you walk and block one of his buttons, there's nothing he can really do off of it. He either has to cancel it into a special, which, one, if he does headbutt, it's -3, so it gives you an offense opportunity. If he does it into drive rush, he wastes a lot of his bar, which, he'll be able to mix you, or you'll have to drive reversal him, but it will still give you it's still, like, long-term, not in this situation, but long-term, it's not how Honda wants to be playing the match. He doesn't want to be having to, like, do stand medium punch drive rush every time you walk close to him. He doesn't want to be spending all of his drive gauge like that. So if you just walk up and just let him either sit there or throw out normals and you just walk in, walk out, walk in, sit there, etc., you will be able to safely ascertain his frequency and his tendency whilst conditioning him to change his behavior in some way. Maybe he'll start getting more aggressive and, like, think that you'll just be sitting there and he'll dash forwards. Maybe he'll start pressing more buttons. Maybe he'll be worried about being too predictable and start hitting less buttons. Those are 3 common responses to bulldogging. Bulldogging, if you're not familiar with the term, is the practice of walking really close up to the opponent's grill and, like, you know, blocking or walking backwards, etc. So that will allow you to approach and get into range, and you'll be able to threaten buttons, and that will make him react to your anti-air, he'll anti-air worse. You can jump in and do dive kicks, etc. A lot of just unfortunate random clashes. But yeah, if you, like, take the fight into his face, but without pressing too many buttons that will allow him to, like, hit you with headbutts and stuff, it's pretty good. Couple random trades. Oh, off of his headbutt, you frequently were doing, like, low forward drive rush. I think that is unnecessary, and, like, when you've already won the neutral, I don't think it's necessary unless you have good reason to expect that the opponent's going to abuse, like, a backdash or a walk backwards or something. But in this situation, I think we've played this matchup, like, plenty of times, and, like, what you played it more and then you got used to doing stand jab or stand medium punch after blocking the headbutt, which is the better option to do. So do stand jab or something to check him, and then try to, like, you know, confirm it on hit if he mashes or something, and then once you've conditioned him with the stand jab, you can walk up or jump at him and do more stuff like that. So yeah. Stand jab here or just walk forward throw would be good, and then if he does anything else to try to stop that, if he hits buttons, then you can do walk back, crouch medium punch, buffer. If he hits buttons, you could also just do forward jump and jump over them after blocking headbutt. If he tries to escape by walking backwards or backdashing, you can do crouch strong or low forward drive rush. And if he just sits there and blocks like that, you can walk up and throw him. That's fine. Yep, that's not bad. Unfortunate. It was unnecessary to spend drive gauge there. When you have a clean hit, don't even spend drive gauge if you're not going to kill or you don't have full drive gauge yourself. Just do heavy spiral arrow. It's more cost effective, especially off of low forward, which has damage scaling anyways. You should have him here. Oh, no cancel. It's still possible to win here because you have supers. Yeah, if you had been pumping and buffering super, that would have been clean right there. Any of his fucking long-range approaches will just get shut down by level 3. But yeah, once he gets close, it's quite difficult to survive. Yep. Alright, so yes. So, overall, my notes, try to clean up some of the errors. Try to just walk the opponents down. Get more comfortable using, like, just walking up in their grill as your primary form of neutral offense a lot of the times. Less roundhouse, more stand jab, crouch strong, as like less risky, less committal ways of checking the neutral. And just throw the shit out of these fucking guys on ranked. Just fucking throw them to death. Alright, so, let's see, off of this, yeah, just throw the shit out of them. I mean, this guy's done fucking nothing but just crouch block on defense. Like I said, like, the most important thing that you can do against these players is you can't assume that their defense is, like, complete. Again, like I said, all of these guys that are in Platinum or whatever are here because something about their play is fundamentally incomplete right now. So they are fine against some players, but then other players they can't do anything against. And so the first thing you want to do is identify where their defense is incomplete. So the first thing, one thing that you can do to identify that is give them some space and see what they do on defense. If this guy's like defensive habit is like sometimes he does crouch jab to check something. Most of the time, pretty much every time, he's just doing like sit there crouch block or maybe delay mash or something. There's two ways you can beat that. You can beat it by, if he just sits there and crouch block, you can just throw him to death over and over and over and over again. And if he does a lot of delay, crouch jab, etc., you can just walk slightly out of range and just hit crouch medium punch, buffer into spiral arrow or drive rush or whatever. And that'll auto whiff punish his delay jab for you. But yes, you want to identify where your opponent's like their defense is incomplete. So this guy, he doesn't walk backwards, he doesn't backdash, whatever. He sits there and crouch blocks. Maybe he does delay jab, etc. Maybe he tries to like take his turn with a faster option, but he's not teching and he's not moving. Okay, so abuse that. Throw the shit out of him and then blow up his delay jabs with walk back buffers. And then when you're walking into his face, play reactively. Like, be ready to hit stand jab or crouch medium punch at the twitch of any animation. If you're here and you see any animation from Honda, there's no reason not to hit a button. Because if it's something that reaches you at this range, you'll be in block stun anyways by the time that your human eyes can see it. And if it's something that's whiffs right here, then, or if it's like a dash or something, then you want to hit buttons. So just sit in his face and then just twitch react to like any animation with stand jab or crouch medium punch. It's fine. That's like the easiest way to play close range, scrappy neutral. Yeah, another misconversion would have been good. How plus was this dive kick? Not sure it's going to tell me. Probably +4. So yeah, less roundhouse, walk more freely, backdash as like a safe haven if you're ever in a spot that you feel uncomfortable with in neutral or you're not sure what the opponent's going to do and you want to be able to get space and react, just mash backdash, get out of backdash. Less stand roundhouse, more walk up, twitch reactions, just hit stand jab, crouch strong, and then identify where your opponent's offense and defense are fundamentally incomplete and repetitive. Which option they're not representing. That's -8. Could have killed him there. That was bizarre. Alright. Yeah, again, throw the fuck out of these guys. They're not, like, this guy does one thing, and it's disgusting. You don't, like, here's the thing. you are not playing complete players, so you don't want to just assume that you are and try to play in like a well-rounded way. It's not that like, here's the thing. A lot of people, you ever watched a tournament and you hear like one of the commentators or something say that like, you know, when you do something and you realize that your opponent doesn't know what to do against it, just keep abusing it. That's not just like, you know, like a trolly whatever, or it's like, oh, it's, you know, like tough love, it's your fault for not knowing how to deal with this. It's actually important for your gameplay that you abuse the thing that is incomplete in your opponent's arsenal, because like sometimes it's in the context of like, oh, they don't know that this move is punishable, so just keep abusing it because they just don't know something. But in many instances like this, like if this guy never delay techs, he just sits there and crouch ball, he never walks backwards, etc., and you are trying to play in a well-rounded way where sometimes you do low forward drive rush, sometimes you shimmy, etc., you autopilot shimmy heavy punch, etc., like, you are not just like, you know, failing to punish the incompleteness of his gameplay, you're actually hurting yourself because, like, against a more complete player, your playstyle would make sense, and all of your options would sometimes clip the opponent, but against a guy like this, you are actually just, like, hamstringing your own offense, because there's one thing that is the only thing that will work because of how incomplete your opponent's toolkit like decision-making is. You just actually have to abuse the thing that they're refusing to implement. You just have to throw. You have to recognize what's incomplete and then just fucking spam the shit out of it. Otherwise, you are fighting an uphill battle yourself by going for options that will never yield reward because the opponent doesn't even represent those tools.